Hello everyone, so today we have another discard deck, and I know that I got roasted for saying that Blade was busted. I personally think that small changes, especially something as substantial as Blade and being able to control what gets discarded, is huge. It is a huge boost for the archetype and just in general, being able to do it in like kind of unique ways. That gives us another way to Blade discard into a Ghost Rider resummon, even outside of a full discard deck. It creates some cool hybrid opportunities. So jumping off of the Blade hype train, we have another discard deck, and this one is going to be a hybrid between Apocalypse discard and Hela resummon, specifically because Loki is so strong right now that a lot of other decks, if you have strong cards or just strong value cards, and then Loki stills them, that player will be able to use them more efficiently than what you can. However, with discard, that's not always the case. You are going to have your entire game lay out what kind of direction you want to use your cards in, where the opponent's only going to have 1 or 2 turns, and maybe they get an infinaut and they can't use it. Maybe they get the Apocalypse, but no way to discard it. You get a couple of ways to get a pass whenever Loki does get played. But even if you're not going against Loki, this deck does phenomenally. You can either use a targeted discard method where you're controlling exactly what Blade, Calling Wing, and Lady Sif are discarding. Sometimes you're going to go with a path that discards the infinaut into a Ghost Rider resummon. Other times, maybe you do a Blade to discard your MODOK into Ghost Rider resummon. Maybe you go with the full Hela resummon route if you discard the majority of like your good cards prior to that point, not expecting Hela, and then you can draw on Hela later. There's a couple of ways that you can surprise your opponent, and I think that's the biggest benefit to this deck, is it's not as rigid as the normal Apocalypse discard. It's not going to be as consistent at putting the exact same amount of power on the board, but with that comes a little bit of strength in potentially enticing your opponent to overstay whenever you have a good line. You can steal 8 cube games where before the opponent could calculate, okay, Dracula's going to absorb Apocalypse, they're going to have a Chavez, and 2 swarms that they can play. I know exactly how much power they're going to be pumping out. This one is a lot less rigid, and you have several flexible ways to drop your power that it's going to surprise some of your opponents. And so depending on what kind of matchup you're in, depending on what resources you draw, you can decide whether you want to go a super light discard into a Ghost Rider resummon, a full-fledged discard into a Hela resummon, or just a full-fledged discard into Dracula Apocalypse Absorb on the last turn. And I'm having a blast with this deck. I hope that you guys enjoyed as well. But we're going to be jumping into a couple of games. Thank you guys as always for the continued support. We're nearing 40,000, so if you're watching and not currently subscribed, I would love to have you here. I love seeing our community grow, but we're going to jump into a couple of games. I hope you guys enjoy. Swarm, swarm. Then swarm. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That gives us 20 here. So unless they invest further in the left lane, wherever Dracula goes to, I think we're going to be safe. If they don't play in mid, then this helps us here. I don't know. Let's go for it. Hopefully they don't play for the left lane. They play for the other 2. Okay, so Legion is crazy. Could make our cards go all over the place, but it's perfectly fine. Their Devil Dino goes down to 11. Our Swarms are coming back. Our Dracula's coming back. We absolutely swindle, and we castle roll the win here against Cheddar. We get ourselves some Cheddar. From the high roll of drawing Hela on the last turn, we will absolutely take it. All right, next up we have Darkside. The first lane is the Avengers Compound. I think a more variable version of a discard, so the one that has the Hela, you can always do like a Blade into infinaut and then resummon it with your Hela or Ghost Rider to get a little bit of extra kind of surprise burst. I think that is going to allow you to steal more cubes in the long run. It may not be quite as consistent as just a straightforward discard, but it has surprising play, so it's a lot harder for the opponent to calculate exactly what you're planning to do and when you're planning to do it. They snapped on us with the Throne Room, Vibranium Mines, Avengers Compound. I'm guessing they drew into Loki. I want to say we're fine. Maybe. It really depends on what resources they get from the Loki. Let's do Swordmaster. We do have Hela, so if it hits Hela, that's unfortunate, but otherwise I think we're fine. Everything else is a decent hit. Infinaut would be huge. In that case, we would kind of stop the targeted discard and go away from it. So the Angel and Kitty Pride is what they go with. We do hit our Infinaut. Beautiful. And so now we want to do more targeted discards instead of the randomness. And so we can do, oh, this is beautiful. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go Morbius. Let's go Calling Wing. That's going to give us free swarms. Hela will, of course, resummon the swarm. Every swarm that we discard, even though it comes back in, it still counts as being fully discarded, so we will be able to resummon those as well for that little bit of extra +3 here and there. We have the Dracula still, so if we do get Apocalypse, and that's great. And then the infinaut. The infinaut coming on board is huge. We're going to go ahead and snap back against darkside. I think we're in a good spot. Since they don't have Loki down just yet, I think we're okay. They could do Loki and a 1-cost card here, so the Kitty Pryde plus Loki could be viable, but in a more combo-driven, yeah, the Kitty Pryde, and then, oh no, Agent Coulson, not the Loki line. All right, I'm low-key okay with that. So the Apocalypse comes down, and so Hela resummon. We can play out all of our swarms. Dracula will be able to absorb into the Apocalypse. It's not bad. I think I'm feeling pretty confident right now. They could do Loki, of course, making their collector in the right lane really, really big. In the process, the Snow Guard with the collector is so good, so good. And they do go Loki again. And so as long as it's not above 20, though, we might be able to kind of persuade where the power ends up sticking. I guess we don't have that many swarms to do it, right? So this could get us potentially 18 in this left lane, which is really not that great. Hela, and then this maybe could do the difference. I don't know. We're going to stick it out. We're going to see. We do have the infinaut that will come back in full force. You can hope, you can dream. I assumed the Kitty Pryde was on the left, so the 18 over there was not going to be enough. Oh, if infinaut, I guess if infinaut goes over there, then we can win that one. So the Swordmaster discarded a Dracula and then Ghost Rider resummoned it right away. So they have 3 cards left in their deck. Infinaut in the right lane gives us that win. We need something big in this middle. We need them to not pull something big in the middle lane. Unfortunately, we get Lady Sif in the right. They get Swarm, which forces the tie in mid. We should win the point differential because Infinaut went to the right. Thank goodness we have the RNG gods on our side today. With the Infinaut going to the 40 power massive behemoth in Throne Room. We will take it. We will gladly take it. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Tano. So for the person that is running the Lady Sif avatar, running a Phoenix Force deck, and I retreated. You hit your Phoenix Force, resummon Human Torch. I retreated, and then I did the Thanos snap, and then the fist bump. I didn't mean to do the Thanos snap. I wasn't trying to BM you. I'm just trying to do a fist bump. It's a very specific call out, but that's for you, in case you're out there. Let's go Morbius. Let's go Blade. That will be able to get rid of our swarms. We'll be able to start that high roll. When Hela does come down, that's going to generate some more swarms on the board, so our board state is going to be full regardless. The only bad thing about the Swarm discard is sometimes it decreases the consistency of your Hela resummon, but I think honestly that's fine. So Iceman hit our Swarm, so it's going to stay at 1, right? Interesting. Okay. Negative zone's not great. I am going to skip here. We may do Swordmaster next. I don't know. Ooh, White Hot Room's decent. Yeah, let's go Swordmaster. Swordmaster discarding MODOK normally feels like a fail. In this style of deck, it could be decent. It can trick your opponent into thinking they're safe. So Tano is running a bounce deck, an Iceman Angela bounce deck. Okay, they that's 1-2. Can they fill up the White Hot Room this turn? If so, we're just hoping that they can't make full use of that extra energy. Now they might be able to with things like Hitmonkey maybe. We do get rid of the MODOK, so that's actually beautiful. They do the Collector, the Angel. They will be able to cap this one out this turn. If we cannot, and we cannot, I'm going to skip here. They're going to get extra energy in the White Hot Room. It's fine. Iceman can hit nothing except for swarms. Also fine. They have a relatively, unless they do Falcon, they have a relatively specific amount of power that they have here. The Calling Wing into the Hela resummon is okay. It helps bump up our Morbius, but it's not great. Let's go Calling Wing. We're going to discard another swarm. Hela will resummon both of the swarms that we discard. We'll be able to play 2 swarms as well. We get a decent amount of range on the board, but it's not huge by any means. Loki is interesting. especially with the extra energy here. They could do all kinds of just absurd plays. Now, what if instead of resummoning, we did this? We give up, in the process, we would give up the left lane most likely. Dracula has a 50-50 of hitting the infinaut. I don't know if I like that or not. We could do this, then this, but it's only 6 here. MODOK pops up here or here, giving us a little bit of competing chance in these two lanes. But if they got Swarm or Apocalypse and they can buff this up very big, then the extra 5 lead that we would have here may not be enough. I don't know. This is what we're going to lock in. I like the idea of the 50-50 Dracula, but it is what it is. Swordmaster hits the Chavez, perfectly fine. Hela resummons the Chavez, also perfectly fine. We have the Hela in mid that does overpower the Loki. The 2 swarms come into the left lane. The MODOK comes in, bumping up the left lane as well. It's not going to win the left lane, but we are going to win mid and right in the process. Tano, thank you for using your Loki. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. We will absolutely take it. Whoa. Next up we have W, which I'm wondering if this is WW Los, the tournament-winning protege himself, W, which changed his name to W because WW Los, I guess, was confusing some people. Anyways, in our starting hand, we have the Apocalypse, Morbius, the MODOK line, so that's probably the line we go with this game, not the Hela resummon. But there's always a chance, you know? There's always a chance that we draw something that we would rather go a different direction. But with MODOK, I think it's going to be more benefit for us to discard things. So they have the armor. They could be running the... Ooh. If it is the real W, they could be running the high Evo wave style deck, which is kind of scary. Blade would discard Ghost Rider. Not our prize-winning discard. I'm just going to play Patriot. We're going to play Patriot into the right lane. At least it gets +5 power. Claw or Hulkbuster does not look like the wave line, so maybe we don't have to worry about that so much. I was worried about wave because of our swarms and being able to dump those on the last turn, but maybe it's not as big of a as big of a concern as we thought. This is beautiful, you guys. Blade into Ghost Rider next turn. I do wish we would have been able to do Blade, or maybe, yeah. We'll do Blade into Ghost Rider resummon for the Infinaut over in the left lane, and then it looks like, I don't know, that makes us skip our MODOK line, but I think it's probably okay as well. The Shuri in the left lane to double up on a Red Skull, to double up on something to then Taskmaster later, might be kind of scary, but I think it's probably okay as well. Let's go Ghost Rider resummon in the left lane. Next turn may honestly be a Lady Sif Swarm style scenario. I want to see this one play out because I am very curious. But the last turn, turn 6, may be a Lady Sif Swarm style scenario in Nidavellir. So they have the Vision, the mobile Vision. We could also do a Dracula in Swarm style play here. Gives us a lot of reach here. We might get beaten by like a 0 or another 1-cost card in Valley of the Hand. But I do want to see this one play out. We have a 1 out of 3 to get 12 here, a 1 out of 3 to get 8, and then the low roll of Lady Sif, I think, is probably fine. Morbius gets bumped up by 2 because of our Dracula play. Is it great? No, probably not. Is it decent? Yeah, absolutely. And so they do move Vision into mid. Oh, is that... No, it's not the Taskmaster. The Captain America is an interesting one. Into the Forge, into... What is the last card here? The Kitty Pride. Bringing them up to 26. We get the lucky 12 power pull. Oh my gosh. All right. Next up we have Hunza Man. And so I'm not going to showcase them because they are kind of boring matches. But I have recently ran into 2 different Phoenix Force decks. And Phoenix Force is one of those decks that whenever they hit their high roll, it's just absurd. At that point, it's much more advantageous to retreat out rather than try to like push up rather than try to force your way in. And so I'm not going to showcase them, but I did think it was worth noting that if the Phoenix Force hits like a Human Torch into a Carnage on 2 and they snap, just retreat. Just retreat for 1. It's much better than risking 2 or even 4, depending on what your hubris tells you to do. So, a double Swordmaster discard. Actually, that's fine. The only bad thing would be a Modok. I like the double Modok discard quite a bit. I also like the high roll of Swarm. With Mindscape. I think we go early. I think we pressure this early. Now, there's a small chance that Mirror Dimension on the left could go to Mindscape and then we'll trade cards and then trade them right back, which is a really cool idea. Ooh, we get rid of Infinaut and Apocalypse. So we keep the Modok Dream alive. Interesting. Oh, this is a guaranteed Infinaut resummon. This is beautiful. Can we snap again? Like, I want to snap again. They did Jeff. They did Green Goblin. So maybe a Galactus deck? I mean, we'll know what resources they have on the last turn after Double Mindscape goes off. But the Ghost Rider resummon here is going to be huge. If they move their Jeff and they want to do a Galactus, this is fine. Like, this is perfect. Hunza Man? You doing okay, Hunza Man? Okay. We haven't discarded anything. If we didn't have the Ghost Rider, Hela would be an enticing play here. But Modok into a double Swarm discard, into a double Apocalypse discard. Beautiful. Now, if they yank away one of the Mindscapes, we would be kind of scared. It'd be kind of sad. Otherwise, we were in a really good spot here. Let's see what Hunza Man follows up with. I'm also interested to see what they have in their hand, which is kind of the cool benefit of having 2 Mindscapes, is you get to see their exact hand. Nimrod, okay. Let's see if they have the Galactus or not. Not that it matters, because we have a huge left and a huge right. Okay, Venom, Destroyer, Carnage, Bucky Barnes. Ooh, a double Destroyer is an interesting line for them to do here, right? Double Destroyer would be 6, 12, and then both of them would go back here and then swap. We do get the retreat. We also top deck the Dracula, so we'd be able to have Apocalypse discard 1 additional time. So it was going to look like something along the lines of Dracula here, Swarm. This deck is so crazy. All right, next up we have Gallo Lee. Nowhere is going to be decent for like a Morbius. There's a couple of things that this deck works well for. We haven't seen a lot of Enchantress or Rogues recently, and so Morbius gets a little bit of that surprise factor. Ooh, Ghost Rider is decent, especially with like the hidden nature of Dark Dimension. So let's go Morbius as we kind of flesh out the rest of the game and the rest of the board and what Gallo has up their sleeve. The Collector is going to be big in the left lane. Collector, it is his time to shine. Like, he is just doing work. This is unfortunate, though, because we have the Calling Wing to get the discard, but we can't make it happen. They also can't do, like, a Loki over here. That becomes pretty tough for them. We could do Dracula. We could do the Ghost Rider to resummon whatever lowest cost card we play. We have a couple of cool ways to play this one. Lady Sif to discard our highest cost card would be right after the Calling Wing happens. So I think Dracula in the right lane. Maybe we try to position this where Infinaut is like one of the only cards left in our deck for the Crimson Cosmos to pull. And then we're going to look for like discarding one last card with Ghost Rider and then resummoning. Or the Hela resummon here is really cool too. I like it. I like it a lot. I think we wait. Let's do the Swarm outright. At the very least, we'll do Swarm outright. But I think we wait on the Lady Sif, in case we draw Apocalypse. Oh wait, no, we need to discard cards. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do the Lady Sif. I almost lost my mind. We need Infinaut to be gone for the Hela. So let's do this. We're going to discard the lowest and the highest cost card in our hand. Legion is craziness. Oh, no. Well, Calling Wing is gone. We have a 50-50 for Lady Sif to stab us in the back here. Okay, the Legion line is kind of crazy, though, because they won't be able to do a whole lot on this last turn. We can potentially outpower them in the right lane. Apocalypse is fine. Wait, no, we're fine here. Gallo. I think you just messed up, my friend. All right, so the 8-power Apocalypse, they could have Chavez. Wherever they end up playing Chavez, do we snap back on him? The Dracula pulling the infinaut is going to be beautiful. Let's go ahead and snap on him. They saw we lost our Hela. Ah, come on, Gallo. Where's your sense of adventure? I'm guessing they didn't have very many high cards. The Legion into Crimson Cosmos was such a bold call. That's where we're gonna go ahead and end the video. We're making short work of the Loki lines because we can do some kind of obscure things that they can't always line up perfectly. Because we have the whole game to construct how we want to position our discards and our resummons, and they only have 1 to 2 turns typically to do it. And so overall, having a lot of fun with this deck. We're gonna go ahead and end the video there. Thank you guys as always for being here. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like and a comment down below. As always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.